Thomas Wyatt Turner, black botanist, born 1877, died 1978. Thomas Wyatt Turner was an accomplished scientist and social activist. As a well-respected botanist and biologist, his areas of interest as a well-respected researcher were plant physiology and pathology, physiological effects of mineral nutrients on root growth in seed plants, and physiological effects of nitrogen and phosphorus on plants. Turner was the first black man to present a paper to the Virginia Academy of Science, and for many years was the organization's only black member from south of Philadelphia. But Turner's work as an activist overshadowed his many scientific accomplishments. He was a leader in the movement to fight racism in the Catholic Church, of which he was a staunch member. He also participated in the founding of the NAACP and worked to increase opportunities for blacks in the sciences and higher education in general. Turner was born in Hughesville, Maryland, on March 16, 1877. Some sources claim November 16th is his birth date. He was one of 9 children born to Eli and Lenny Turner, both former slaves. His father worked as a sharecropper until his death when Turner was only 8 years old. Turner attended local schools, some of them Episcopalian, since the Catholic ones would not admit him, until he was accepted at Howard University Preparatory School. To attend this prep school, Turner walked the 50-mile distance between his hometown and Washington, D.C. He went on to earn his B.A. from Howard University in 1901. He subsequently was awarded his graduate degree from Cornell, his M.A. in 1905, and his Ph.D. in botany in 1921. After acquiring his undergraduate degree, Turner became employed as an educator. From 1901 to 1914, Turner taught biology in several high schools successively. He spent a year at Tuskegee Institute in Alabama, 1901 to 1902, as a favor to his friend, Booker T. Washington. Then, Turner taught at Baltimore High and Training School from 1902 to 1910, and spent a year at a high school in St. Louis, Missouri, before finally returning to Baltimore, where he finished his high school teaching career in 1914. While employed as a teacher in 1907, he married Laura Miller. She died in the 1920s. Turner spent his spare time learning in the years between his graduate degrees. He attended graduate classes at several universities and related institutions. Among them were Johns Hopkins, Columbia, the University of Rochester, and the Cold Spring Harbor Laboratory. Though he wanted to attend Catholic University of America, it was segregated at the time, and he was not granted admittance. Turner was an activist from early in his career. He was a founding member of the NAACP when it formed in 1909, served as secretary in the Baltimore branch in 1910, and also was the chairman for the organization's first membership drive in Washington, D.C. in 1915. Turner also was elected president of the NAACP's Phobos, Virginia branch at one time. The NAACP honored his contributions by making him a life member. Turner's activism also crossed over into patriotic concerns. During World War I, from 1916 to 1917, he acted as an agent of the New York's National Security League, promoting patriotism, loyalty, and thrift during the war. Turner moved up to the university level of teaching in the mid-1910s, serving as a professor of botany and applied biology at Howard University from about 1914 until 1924. He was also acting dean at the School of Education from 1914 to 1920. During that time, from 1916 through 1921, he completed his Ph.D. from Cornell. His dissertation was entitled Studies of the Mechanism of the Physiological Effects of Certain Mineral Salts in Altering the Ratio of top growth to root growth in seed plants. His thesis was eventually published in the American Journal of Botany. While working on his dissertation, Turner spent parts of 1918 to 1919 working for the U.S. Department of Agriculture as a cytologist, or cell biologist, and special investigator in Maine. There he examined potato fields. Throughout his career, Turner would be consulted by the American government about agricultural problems. Indeed, Turner worked as a collaborator of Virginia's plant diseases under the auspices of the U.S. Secretary of Agriculture at one point. In 1924, Turner became associated with the Hampton Institute, Virginia, as a biology professor. The institute later became Hampton University. After serving for a time as head of the department, Turner was forced to retire in 1945 because of the effects of glaucoma. He held emeritus professor status at Hampton until his death in 1978. While at Hampton, Turner was a key figure in advancing institution's natural science. He was a key figure in advancing the institution's natural science curriculum. In 1977, the school honored him by renaming its science building Turner Hall. The year 1924 was also significant for Turner as an activist. That year, he established the Federation of Colored Catholics to fight racism and segregation in the Catholic Church and promote racial harmony. This group had existed in several forms since 1917. Turner and others from his parish organized it to promote African American solidarity with the Church, and Turner himself served as the Federation's president several times until 1934. Against his protests, his organization was forcibly made part of the Catholic Interracial Council in 1933. Though the Federation retained its own identity until 1958, the group lacked focus and power after the mid-1930s. Turner was against this integration because he thought the council was racist and passive, as well as being dominated by whites. Still, Turner remained a loyal member of the Catholic Church. Throughout the 1920s, Turner was also active in the black voter registration movement. Turner had long been interested in science education, especially in traditionally black colleges. He organized the Virginia Conference of College Science Teachers in 1931 and served as president of that group for 2 terms. He was motivated to form the group because he noted that historically black colleges were involved only minimally in the advancement of science and education. During 1942 to 1943, Turner studied science teaching at 32 black colleges, most of them land-grant colleges, and he produced several papers on the topic. He noted that science was still not being taught for its own sake, but to prepare students for other careers. His work was key in the founding of the National Institute of Science, of which he was the first president. After his retirement from Hampton, Turner continued to work in the collegiate science community. He was a consultant at Florida Normal College from 1947 to 1948. He also spent a year from 1949 to 1950 working at Texas Southern University. Turner organized their biology department, served as a consultant to the university's president, and was himself a professor of biology. Though he had many conflicts with the Catholic Church in 1976, the Secretariat of Washington, D.C.'s Black Catholics named its highest award for Turner. The Turner Award has become an annual honor. The same year, Turner was also awarded an honorary science doctorate from the Catholic University, the very institution that would not admit him earlier in the century. Turner died on April 21st, 1978, at the age of 101 years old in a Washington, D.C. hospital. While Turner was survived by his second wife, Louise Wright, whom he married in 1936, they had no children. Throughout his career, Turner held memberships in numerous scientific organizations, among them the American Association for the Advancement of Science and the American Society of Horticultural Science. Citations are in the description.